All right, before the break, we asked the question, should Christmas be considered a cultural holiday more than a religious holiday? And here's how the audience voted. 58% said no, 21% aren't quite sure. And for our TV viewers, send your answers to the addresses on the screen. Well, before I introduce our next guest, we've got a few comments in the studio audience about this issue of how branding has taken over the reason, the meaning of Christmas. This gentleman here with the microphone.
Well, I think the problem is that why it's been taken over is because we've made something which is on one day, which should be a lifestyle of sharing and giving. So now it's been harnessed and taken over by capitalism.
All right, great point. I think we've got another comment here coming from over here on the left.
Over the years, I've looked at the hectic pace of life and what is happening. And what I've concluded is whether you label it as religion or not, at the end of the year, it's like putting a pause, a button that everyone kind of stops. And there's this collective throughout the world that people actually are celebrating in family and groups, and whether you call it religion or not, it is actually reflecting what the Christmas part of that particular season is all about. So on a different level, it is happening.
Okay, front row, you've got a comment about religious holiday versus cultural holiday.
Well, I really think that we have a responsibility to make it our own thing. Like, I mean, if you think it's a religious thing, if you do think of Christmas as a Christian and you're taking it as a celebration, yes, I'm celebrating Christ's birth, then you have the responsibility to treat it as such. I mean, yes, it has been taken out of context horrendously, but if you want to celebrate Christ's birth, whether it be on the 25th or throughout the rest of the year, you have to do that in the way that's proper. Okay. If I want to celebrate it, I can, and this is the way I choose to do it.
All right, okay. Well, our next guest is an artist who is devoted to trying to figure out how to bring the Christian brand to the forefront of the Christmas season. Tim Schmaltz is a Canadian sculptor whose work is displayed around the world. He sculpts using bronze, wood, and stone. He uses art to communicate the Christian story. Our first guest said, give it up for the brands. They've taken over. Commercialism has taken over. You're not about to see that happen. Why?
Well, first of all, I'm a sculptor. I'm not an anthropologist. But when I look at creating a sculpture, I need a great subject matter. I need to start off with something that's really fascinating for me to create a fascinating piece of artwork. And I think that when you take the spiritual out of Christmas and treat it as a holiday, just without thinking of the religious implications, you're kind of taking the soul out of the theme. And I think that the result is something inferior.
Now, you have got a fascinating history with exploring how art has always been used to communicate the most important messages for the human race. The church, you think, was the originator of the billboards. What do you mean by that?
They knew how to get people's attention. You have to understand that when the Christian church started using artwork, most people were illiterate. So what they actually did was create these amazing stained glass, amazing sculptures, so people could kind of get these, not sound bites, but visual bites, and take these messages with them. It's, in a sense, exactly what Nike does today. And there is something fascinating about visual images. It has a lot of power, and it's interesting because if you have a word in print, that is powerful. But then when you take that word and actually create something three-dimensional, it really does have a unique force.
We caught up with you as you were sculpting a very special word. Tell me about this particular creche that you're creating for this Christmas.
Well, it's fascinating because I have a real personal spirituality, and a lot of my artwork I almost treat it as a meditation or a prayer. And so this Christmas, I've never did a nativity set per se. I did Holy Families, but I wanted to have a more traditional nativity. And so I started to create this piece, and what it basically is a celebration. It's a joy. And it's interesting because throughout the history of the church, I think the first nativity was in the 1500s, and that was created by St. Francis, the rumor has it, and he actually had live people. And so what I wanted to do with this nativity is create that theater, that excitement. So.
And what do you hope people understand was happening between this Holy Family and God that we're unwrapping now at Christmas?
Yeah, absolute joy. And I want that, I want to create this piece also for that connection, that this is a joy and it's a celebration of the birth of Christ. And I think that the interesting thing, whether Christmas happened, you know, whether it eclipsed a pagan celebration, it's still the beginning of Christ for us. And so we need, I believe we need that marker for our faith. And it's the same as, like, I'm sure Easter was once a pagan celebration too that the church took over, but it doesn't matter. We still need Easter. And I would hate to see in the future people questioning whether there should be any Christianity in Easter eggs or Easter bunnies anymore. Like, it just seems, don't get me wrong, I'm an absolute capitalist. I believe in people making money, but I still believe we have to hold these things sacred.
Who puts these creches out in the marketplace? Where's the right appetite for this?
I believe that if you look at, and I thought about this just recently, if you look at someone's home, nowadays we're in a very minimalist decor. Very rarely do we put things out. At Christmas time, people go crazy with this stuff. Santa Claus, like 5 Santa Clauses. But the thing that's missing in a lot of these homes is any visual Christian symbol. So hopefully in the future, I can see a future where there's more of these nativities out there.
All right, we're going to keep you on the set for a little longer because you weren't always this interested. We're going to find out why the story of Jesus has become so personal for you as an artist and a world-renowned sculptor. But first, it's time to find out what you think. Does Christmas bring you more stress than joy? Please send us your answers by phone, email, Facebook, or Twitter, and we'd love to know your opinion. Well, our studio audience is taking a live vote, and we'll have those results shortly. And we continue our conversation with Tim right after the break.
When in the Toronto area, Lorna invites you to be a part of her live studio audience. Check out our website for dates and times. Contextwithlorna.com. Come and join the conversation.